Very nice. Just to see the kids excited and to see them working together, they were engaged in a cooperative learning environment, with other students like I never really see. Just self-motivated, moving forward. They had ideas and they wanted to express them, and it was a beautiful process. Prior to the curriculum, they hadn't experienced notation. They had no awareness of form or texture or any of these. They haven't even really explored range of instruments. There was no consideration of these things. And initially, they've experienced different levels of actually. They've been engaged and they've been excited, but there have been at times, I think because at the end of the year there was some. They just want to play their instruments all the time, and so that was a little interesting to me. Once I partnered them up, I found that they were tremendously engaged, and I think that some of them, probably about half, were really excited to showcase their work, and now they have a keen understanding. I think it's going to help them with all their performance, and they. Let me see. I was able to pull from, like, some of the listening examples we did were from like the hip-hop world or electronic music that was using samples and things like that. And I broke down, like, it was something where when I played it, immediately they related and they responded and they were engaged, even though they didn't know the piece. And then I broke down that there were really only 4 samples that were happening, and once I broke down each sample, they saw that was something that was manageable, that they could create on their own. It was very similar. The elements, simple elements together, can create something that's engaging and very listenable. And I found that I saw the light bulbs going on during that process, and that was really helpful to see. And I think that really springboarded them into creating something that they felt comfortable and proud with. notation being so new to them, it was very cumbersome, and they would come to me, I have this rhythm, or I would say, let me see your work, and I would see this jumble of notes, and then they would play it for me, and there was a lot of editing, and that took a lot of time to either transcribe notate for them, or to edit their notation. And also with notation software, I find that they would, not only would that help that process, but then they could move things around easily, or they could also see, just in the editing process, and in their ability for them to have it played back to them in real time, to put something down and then hear it played back, and then edit from that process, and try it with another instrument, and copy the phrase into another instrument so you have unison. And then there's just so many more things, I think, that, especially with the kids being as visual as they are, they could see the layers coming together and be able to hear that. I think it's really hard for them abstractly to say, okay, so if they had notation software, at least they could experiment with putting that down on the computer and then hearing what that would sound like and building from that. I think would be really helpful. They really thought they would perform one thing, and then their partner would perform one thing with them, and that was kind of the extent. Only a couple of kids branched out and could, okay, I want another line and I want you to play this. Only a couple. Another thing I think would be wonderful would be if the kids could go and sit in on an open rehearsal with an actual composer and an orchestra, or to see that engagement. It wouldn't even have to be, it would be ideal if it was a composer showcasing new music. That would be optimal, where the musicians had never seen it, and the composer could express what the music is supposed to communicate, and that would be optimal. However, any sort of open rehearsal would be great for them to just see that engagement with the conductor and the performers, and to communicate the music that's been composed. Great, good round of applause.
I have one more question for you. How has the program benefited you as a person, composer, musician, instructor?
It's definitely broadened my horizons. Before I was approached by the American Composers Forum, it had maybe been a passing whim, but the engagement with my students has been based primarily on performance, and getting to see, I was very impressed with what the kids created. I mean, in a short amount of time, with very limited exposure. That's another thing, back to your previous question, with more monetary support, the program could be more robust and could expand over a larger amount of time. And because I feel like with our program, the 10 lessons, there's so much material, and we're just scratching the surface. And once they could understand the concept, they had no problem creating based off of that. So the more time that could be spent to cultivate and to introduce new concepts, new compositional devices that's where monetary support could also help a lot. Where it's benefited me, I'm inspired by what the children created.